So here we go. So I'm going to start sculpting. I really should have filled this with paper, but it's too late. I'm going for it. And this is just for the purpose of the tutorial. So you're going to think about your form here. Pumpkins have ridges, and this is where the fun part starts. All right. Building up these ridges, and basically what I'm doing is I'm just slapping on some clay here. This is a little too dry for my liking, so basically what I'm going to do is dip my hand into the paste, and I'm just going to apply that directly on there. That's what I'm doing. And you can keep on doing that. When you're sculpting in your features, and that's going to be the most important part, really, that's going to bring out the details of your sculpture. Don't be afraid to get it to overlap a little bit on your cardboard. Your cardboard is a guide, and it's also going to be used to give that three-dimensional carved pumpkin look when it's all said and done. All right, so basically that's what you do. You're going to go ahead and you're going to build this up all the way down. I do my sculpting in 3 phases. I do the main part, so I'll go all the way down to about here, and I'll leave the bottom without any clay on it. That's going to be the first phase. One thing I do want to mention, I pulled out this piece of plastic here. If you're using the green fiber insulation, because it's a recycling plant, you will have these bits and pieces of like plastic and things. Just take those out of there. It's not a big deal. If it ends up in there, like I said, that's not a big deal either. Anyway, going back to the sculpting. So what I'll do is I'll continue with, and I'll bring down, I'll start at one ridge at a time. I'm going to put that on there, and I'll bring it all the way down. This is the phase 1 of the sculpt. This is what I do. You don't have to do this. If you feel like, hey, you can do something different, by all means, do something different. But you're going to want to bring it all the way down. And I'm just dipping my hand in the paste and grabbing some of the clay. I'm going to go ahead and do this ridge. Grab some clay. Now, if you have some moisture clay, it's going to work a little better. My clay here got a little dried out. No big deal though, because I could just add a little paste. So I'll build it up to about, let's say about right there. I'm going to leave the bottom without any clay. So I got this nice ridge going here. And then basically I come in, well, what I want to do is dry my hand off. All right, so I'm going to come in with my, you can use, like I said, if you don't have sculpting tools to kind of, you know, utilize, if you don't have that readily at your disposal, use a spoon, use a butter knife, and basically I'm just pressing it in, smoothing it out. You can also use a paintbrush, like dip your paintbrush in. This is a bad example for a paintbrush because look at this thing. I mean, seriously, I probably use glue or something. Anyway, and that's a bad example for a paintbrush too. Anyway, you can use a dry paintbrush, dip it in your clay, and you can actually use that as a sculpting tool as well. So basically, I'm just smoothing it in here, smoothing in the ridges, all that kind of good stuff. And get creative, you know, press in certain areas, make some indentations, make some areas higher ridges than other areas. one of the tips that I have about going around your cutouts of your eyes and your nose and your mouth or any kind of other feature, you really want to have a thick layer of clay in there and just kind of let it overlap, just like that. Now with this type of paper mache that I create, that I use, it shrinks because of course it's made of paper. And I think most paper mache clays do shrink. That's okay. When it shrinks, you might be left with some areas that have like maybe a slight crack, something like that. Not a big deal, because once it dries, you just take a little bit more of that wet clay and you fill it in. And the same thing around, see, look, here's another little piece of something that doesn't belong in there, that I don't want in there. It's all right. See, I'm kind of really building up the eye area here. Let that overlap in there. It's going to make that structure stronger, for one thing. And it's going to give it a more three-dimensional, carved jack-o'-lantern look. So you're just going to keep on going, keep on going. You're going to do this around your entire pumpkin here, your entire jack-o'-lantern. And then you'll sit it aside to dry. And it will take several days to dry. That's the one thing about paper mache, is it's a process. Because there's a lot of different steps to it that's involved in making paper mache, especially if you're using a clay, a paper mache clay. There's the drying factor, and you just have to have a lot of patience. But one of the beautiful things about paper mache is that you can use a lot of things that are made of recycled materials, cardboard, newspaper, different things like that, into your sculpture. Plastic bags even. I mean, we're using these plastic bags, we're creating something that we're using them something other than what their main purpose is for. So reclaiming, recycling, repurposing different things that we might just discard into a landfill, or it's going to end up in a landfill. Let's at least give it a purpose, you know what I mean? So anyway, you can see how that's starting to smooth out. I'll dip my little tool in there. Now, the other thing about paper mache is, because it's a paper-based material, you're not going to get it entirely smooth. There's always going to be some sort of a texture to it, which is actually great for Halloween decorations and things like that. But you can see how it really is starting to resemble real, like, pumpkin skin, which is kind of cool. And I just encourage you at this point in the game, in the process here, get creative. Build up some ridges. Do some of those different things. So this is the first phase. You're going to do that all the way around, build up the ridges and everything. Let me show you a little something about a stem, okay? If you want to show or have the illusion of your stem more sunken in to your jack-o'-lantern sculpture, you'll build up around it like that. I'm going to add a little paste here because it's dry. And you'll be able to sculpt in like a more concave sort of a look to it around the stem. And as I'm filming this portion of it, and you guys are just watching me plug away on this, I do want to mention a few other paper mache artists that I have taken inspiration from. One of them is a man named Jay Olson. He has a YouTube channel called Unhinged Productions. He also has he hosts a Halloween paper mache Facebook group. So if you're into that, go there. It's Halloween paper mache. Jay Olson is the administrator, I guess? Admin? I don't know what you call those people. Anyway, he's really cool. Check out his YouTube channel. He does a lot of cool Halloween stuff. He's got a lot of cool tips and tricks. He's made different types of clay that he'll, and tutorials that he could show you. He's done stuff using cotton with just like cotton balls. He's used wood clay with sawdust. And then another artist, her name is Johnny, and she has a site called Ultimate Paper Mache. So if you're not into Halloween, but you still like the idea of creating paper mache sculptures, check her out, because she does like a lot of cool animals, all kinds of stuff. I mean, she's great. And she has recipes as well for paper mache, clay. Another person that I like to recognize is Dan the Monster Man Reader. His site is Gourmet Paper Mache. Check that guy out. He does really cool things with cloth mache and paper mache. He does dragons. His main thing is dragons. So if you're into that fantasy type of a thing, and you're definitely gonna want to check that guy out. He's extraordinary. He doesn't really have very many tutorials on like YouTube and stuff, but he does have a couple of books that he's written and takes you step by step on how to build a dragon using cloth mache and paper mache. And then there's another guy, and forgive me, I don't really know the name of the artist, but I enjoy watching his YouTube stuff. He does a lot of live things that some of them go on for hours. I think his name is Alan. Sorry, Alan, if that's not your name, but I know the name of your studio. It's stiltbeaststudio on YouTube. Check that guy out. So there's tons of other artists out there, doing all kinds of different things and sharing their work, and we want to be a part of that. We want to show you guys how we create some things. And again, this is a very basic beginner tutorial, start to finish. I hope the information translates well through the video. This is our first one for Scarecrow Joe's Studio. We actually do have another YouTube channel. We do a travel thing. It's called Adventure Unscripted. So check that out if you're into traveling. Those things are actually a lot easier to film. A lot of people have asked me, like, why haven't you guys done a YouTube channel, tutorials and things for Scarecrow Joe's Studio? Well, the easy answer is time. It takes a lot of time to do these things. You have to do them in stages, and I don't think, unless you have your own YouTube channel or you've tried to do something like that, you'll never know the amount of energy and time that it takes, not just in setting it up and filming, but that's just the production, and then you have to edit and all that other kind of stuff. And I actually work full-time. This is not my full-time job, unfortunately. Maybe someday, Yvette and I, we both work full-time. I'm a hotel manager. She's a private chef. She has a business called Wild Horse Catering. She does a lot of private chefing, and then she does some other things as well. But so we are working class people. We don't make a living off of Scarecrow Joe's Studio. This started out as a hobby. I made a few things, just like you, learning some stuff by watching YouTube tutorials, and then just kind of snowballed. I started making some other things and got pretty good at it, and then other people were like, hey, can you make something for me? I'll pay you for it. And so yeah, we do have things for sale. So if you're watching this, you're like, oh man, this is just too much. I just want to, can I just buy something from you? The answer is yes. Yes, you can. year-round. We do have a website, and hopefully by the time that I post this video, I'll have the website updated. I'm horrible at that kind of stuff. Really, guys, I just want to make the art. I just want to make the art. That's what it makes me happy. We make a little bit of money off of it. It helps us travel a little bit. We are setting up a Patreon account for Scarecrow Joe's. If you feel compelled to donate to our Patreon, please do so. Even if it's the price of a cup of Starbucks coffee, which actually nowadays is what, $25,000 or something. I mean, it's quite expensive. But anyway, yeah, we would really appreciate that. It'll keep us in paint and flour and glue. And thank you everybody out there who's watching right now that has supported us over the past, I think we're going into our 6th year. We really haven't been doing this very long. But like I said, Halloween's always been a passion of mine. I've always loved it. And yeah, it's just a way to make your own stuff, you know, that's going to be unusual. You're not going to be able to find it in a store like Spirit Halloween store or something like that, or yes, actually, and I'm not knocking Spirit Halloween store because we love Spirit Halloween, okay? But I hope that you find this video and the other videos that we'll continue to post. Like I said, we'll be doing some more advanced things, showing you how to make some trolls and scarier stuff. And we'll post some pictures of some of the other things that we've made. We've made a life-size witch. We've made a life-size, like, Sleepy Hollow scarecrow. We've made a fortune teller. We've made quite a few different things in the past few years. And it's just something that we really enjoy. And we're happy to share it. Share the knowledge and hope that you find it inspiring so that you can create. And especially during this time of quarantine, I hope that you guys are all healthy. I hope you're all staying safe and sheltering in place like you should be, so that we can hopefully squash this thing sooner than later, and get back to our lives. But when you do, when you get back to working, and no, a lot of people are unemployed right now. You know, I respect that. I'm one of them, actually. I was laid off from the hotel job. We're closed during COVID-19. Hopefully we'll be able to get back and open soon. But just remember to support your local artists. Go into those art galleries. Go into those small stores. There's one in the Tahoe area, in Tahoe City. My friend Jacqueline, she owns a shop called Trunk Show. She has all kinds of different stuff. Sculptures, paintings, jewelry. She actually makes jewelry, really cool stuff. So remember to support those people, you know, once you're back on your feet, of course. I'm just kind of smoothing this in right here a little bit, pressing it down. Because back here I'll create another ridge, and I'll have this line where there's going to be very little clay. Just to kind of show that off. I'm just going to scrape that out of there. That's driving me nuts. Get that out of there, and then I'll just smooth that back over. Alright, so basically this is the fun part. This is where you're just going to sculpt away. 3 phases to this. First phase is what I'm doing now. I'm going to build up these ridges all the way down to about here. Okay? And of course, now it's heavy. It's heavy on one side, but it won't be as you progress. Use these natural ridges from your strip mache as points of reference. You won't have to put that much more clay on here because it's already built up as a ridge, so it won't need to be that thick. So use this natural form that it just happened. Okay, let it happen. Like Bob Ross. Happy little accidents. Go with it, you know. Especially with, you know, Halloween stuff. Doesn't need to be perfect. And do that, let it dry. Build up your ridges, let it dry. Once it's dried, you're going to go in. You'll do the bottom. You'll blend in the bottom, sculpt up the bottom. with your clay. Let that dry. This is what I do, okay? And then at the very end, what I like to do, I go in and I build up my stem. I create my stem. I put the clay over the stem. Right now we're going to move on to the next phase, which is going to be the painting phase.
Oh boy.